A couple of weeks ago there was an auction. It was a company which did precision machining, and I think I found quite some interesting stuff, and I may have overspent a bit, and there were two locations for this factory, and this lot I'm going to show in this video is from the first location. And, there were quite a lot of these being sold, and I had just bought one 2 months before the auction. So this one is new and it's my own. But all the Mitutoyo branded stuff was in high demand. I did bid on some of it, some really nice things, but most of it I stopped bidding on it because it was getting too expensive. And I'll just show you some finds. There you got some inserts. Some of them are labeled. These are just regular square inserts. Some type of I call these boat shaped. I'm not sure if that's the real name for them. They have 4 cutting tips, and labeled AC10. Might be able to find a tool holder for them, although I think it might be a bit too big for my lathe. But maybe I can do something useful with them, or trade them with someone, or yeah, make something nice out of them. Sandvik inserts, some real small grooving tools here. I think they're left-handed grooving. Might be for a CNC machine. I think they're usually cutting left-handed instead of the manual lathe. Walter inserts, got the type so I can find them. I think the box was €25 on eBay. But these, most of them have one used tip. But, maybe someone wants to trade them with me someday. I had an idea for these. I had a scraping project going on, and it was in a. I had to scrape, or I wanted to scrape the inside of a U-shaped metal object, and it had a stud soldered, welded into it, and real hard to reach down there, so I thought maybe I can grind this edge and have a really small scraper. If I solder one of these onto a handle or something like that. But I recently saw a video by Ox Tools, by Tom Lipton from Ox Tools, and he used these as feet for measuring devices. He soldered them to the base. Silver soldered or brazing into a base of a measuring gauge or something like that, and that seems like a nice use for that, although I think I need to round off the corners then. So I'm still thinking about the project for my lathe, and some of this auction stuff was part of gearing up for the starting of it. I haven't felt like really commit to it yet, so I'm just looking around, reading up on the book I showed earlier, and getting ready for it. And someday I have to take the leap and start scraping a lot. I have done a bit of scraping already, but I just started with it, and when I started reading the book, I'll show a picture of it. I noticed I might have done some things wrong or not entirely right. So here are just some inserts. I paid like €10 for this, it's not much. There's a set of hardness testers, which might be nice when I'm starting to scrape. I saw these featured in a video by AVE, and I think it's a nice thing to have. when you've got to scrape stuff or going to decide how and what to scrape. Or even if you can scrape it, then maybe you need to grind it. Here's another tool, which indicator for the depth. And there's different extension rods, different lengths, precision length. You can change them. There's a centimeter of range, 10 millimeters. It's Käfer, made in Germany. Nice heavy build. Can't really read the sticker on the back. Maybe some calibration mark. Found some on other stuff I bought. The box is labeled Maar, but I'm not sure what the deal is. Maybe someone cut the foam to fit the box. Looks like a nice tool, and I think I can use it when scraping for alignment, which you have to start with. You have to take it in account when you start scraping. So I think I can use it. There's this set. They were labeled as mills, but they're not mills. These are rotor brooches, I think. The brand is Nito Koku or Nito Koki, I think. They're called jet brooches, and they're tungsten carbide tipped. There's 7 of these, and one from a different brand, Alpha Rotabest, 20 millimeters. I think they're all 20 millimeters, and there's 2 which haven't been used yet, and I noticed one with a broken insert on here, or a broken tip. These are nice for starting big holes without using much force or introducing very much heat into a workpiece. And I think these also are quite expensive. Maybe I really need one, or 1 or 2 for myself one day. I don't have a use for them yet, but I can use them maybe someday. Now, and then there's this set, just some random tools. Comet or Comet. Shank, 16 millimeters, without the insert, but with the screw, and a left-handed boring bar with a very narrow angled tip. It wasn't really expensive. This one doesn't have a marking on it anymore. It was turned down, maybe to hold in a other tool or in a tool holder. But now I don't know what type of inserts I need for this. I can maybe guess or measure something and go from there. Just order a cheap Chinese test piece, and I found the insert for this tool. They're branded W60 or W79. Not sure if I can find these, but maybe it's starting a collection. And then there's this box. Didn't really know what it was. It's I think the brand is Compact or Compact Swiss. And it's a bit of a weird thing. But there were 2 of these in the auction, and one of them had a dial indicator fitted to it. Something like this. and I think it's called a zeroing device or something like that. This height is 50 millimeters, and with an indicator on it, I think you can set the tool height for CNC devices. There aren't any accessories with it. There should be, but I think I've got that covered. More on that later. There's a mark here. Maybe someone ran a running tool into it. It says Nuset 50 patented. It's just an interesting object to have, actually, or honestly. Now there's this. It didn't come in this box, but I put them in it. A couple of blind hole machine tabs, and it was a set. And I usually use blind holes if I can. And these are quite handy to have. Actually, these are a bit expensive, at least for me. If you want to buy, if I want to use them, this one was, I think, 12, 15, 20, and 27 euros. If I buy them new, I googled the number. They're from a German industrial supplier. Not sure if it's something like a home brand or not, but it's labeled Garant. I paid 22 euros for this set, so this is nice find, I think. All these finds are nice, if you ask me. Well, maybe one isn't, but more on that later. So then there's this box, and I knew there was something wrong with it. There isn't a tip on here, but well, it was a bit of a guess. And, now I need to get it fixed. It's Gyrot or Gyrot. It's a Swiss-made indicator. It has a quite a big face, and maybe it had a long tip on it. I really don't know. I have to look it up, look into it, and maybe I can find a tip and somehow get it calibrated or something. Or I'm not sure how it works, how they calibrate them. If you can adjust something, or if you have to make the tip to length, because the angle of measuring tip determines the reading. So if you take a longer measuring tip, then it would change the reading for the same object. This wasn't much, because you can see it was missing something in the picture, and it's in a Mitutoyo box, but it's, these might be Mitutoyo setup or indicator holding clamps or not. Not sure. Yeah, there's quite a few of these. So some of these, this stuff in this auction gets thrown together, and people who put them up in lots on the website sometimes don't know what it is. So these are going to get called mills, and some of these, and there were stuff like this called taps, but roughing end mills were also called taps sometimes. So if you look good, you can find something which This may be labeled wrong. This one was just in a wrong category. Maybe it didn't get as much attention as it could. There's English instruction on here, and which makes them more expensive if you Google them. The brand is Tsubo-san. Maybe that's the reason why other people couldn't find them if they Googled this Oriana, which is labeled on there. Then there was this box. It was pictured something like this. Something like this. It was labeled Mitutoyo measuring set, but I did try to find the indicator and I couldn't. And it's the same brand as the other one. It's a Swiss brand. It's 6 rubies, it says. So that's better than 5 or no rubies, I think. Well, it's a Swiss tool. Should be okay, I think. I'm not sure what this other stuff is. This is a handle or holder, maybe. It's could be it's ground. Could be a locating something. There's a set screw here, but this thing is the only thing fitting in this hole in the box. The stuff in the box. This one is the only thing that fits the hole. Maybe it's some measuring setup. If you know, please tell me. This is a block. It's not quite 10 centimeters. These ends are these ends have a real nice finish. This is quite rough. I'm not sure. I haven't seen this kind of structure before. Maybe it's rough ground, surface ground. But these sides are maybe lapped, I think, and this bit is crooked a bit. So I think this is shop made because there's also no marking on it. Maybe it's something to set a height, like this, or a distance. There's also a couple of these. If they don't fit this hole. Not sure what they're for. Maybe they're stops or measuring things. Don't know. This maybe this is just pin, or there's a nice edge. Maybe it was a no, it's too light for that calibrating pin. I don't think so actually. There's some marring on it. Maybe it's just a stop or something like that. Tiny screwdriver. That's this box. And there was this. This was really a gamble, and it didn't turn out as I hoped. So, wait, 2 bonus items here. One is a ball nose mill. I think it was machined in the shop there from a blank or a broken mill. This doesn't look like a something you'd buy in the shop. A supplier. Then there's a measuring tip for a 3D indicator thingy, which I don't have, so yeah, not sure what to do with it. Probably somewhere in my country there's someone with a 3D indicator without a tip, so yeah. If you see this, you can contact me. Now these are the two things of which I was hoping they were a bit different. Big machining tools. Inserted. I couldn't really tell from the pictures on the auction what it was, and I was hoping these were tools with two tips inserted with and center drilling, so you can machine from the center into a workpiece and then just cut sides and maybe also do some side milling on lathe turning on it. But it didn't turn out to be something like that. It's the same tool, but was machined. I think it was held in a different tool holder than it's supposed to go in. Yeah, maybe I can lop it off, see what I can do with it. Or maybe someone wants to trade it with me. It could be an expensive tool like this. There's two different types of inserts with them for different materials. Some rice paper. Save some shipping costs maybe. And then there's last item. I've got some file handles. Here's the last lot. It was actually a bunch of file handles. These are 10 millimeters and I have an insert for really small files. Files are in here quite good, although they don't look to fit well, but they hold up. And I was looking for file handles for a while, checking stores and such, but the ordinary hardware stores don't have them. These are from a industrial supplier, and I got a whole box of them. And, maybe if I use 8 of them, I've covered the costs. But I think I've got a lot more, and maybe you say can't have enough of these, but that's not quite true. So they're in this box here. There's about 70, so maybe someone needs a file handle, then just leave a comment. And I think that's it for this lot. There was a second lot of stuff, and that was a bit more even, so I'll show that in the next video.